Get another one. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you all please rise as Rachel Detweiler, Mary Detweiler, Sheila Marrero, David Wrigley, and Alan John lead us in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner...
Let us pray. Almighty and gracious God, we are grateful that you are concerned about all the affairs of your children, and so we thank you for being here present with us. We thank you for those men and women who in the past served as coaches and teachers, that young men and women might be ready for the game of life. We pray your continued blessing upon those who take those chairs at this time. Use them, that these young people shall be willing to serve, that the blue and white shall be proud of them. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Let's everybody relax tonight. Take it easy. We're going to have a splendid program for you that you'll never forget, especially for the inductees. So good evening, honored guests, members of the Hall of Champions Association, former inductees, members of the high school faculty, students, and all other guests. My name is Rudy Cusimano, newly elected president of the Hall of Champions Association. May I say with all sincerity that it is my distinct pleasure to welcome each of you this evening to the 25th Annual Hall of Champions and Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'd like to begin with a statement, a truism that most of us already heard, that if you want to succeed in life, it's always best to soar to great heights with the elegance of eagles rather than stumble along with a bunch of turkeys. Therefore, gentlemen, on behalf of the Norristown Area Association of the Hall of Fame and of Champions, I wish to congratulate every and each inductee. You have soared to great heights as eagles, the original Norristown High School Eagles, because of your brilliant achievements that brought each of you an honor you so richly deserve. Allow me to refer to a source of inspiration based on a poem by Robert Frost, a poet so honored by his invitation to the inauguration of President John F. Kennedy in the 1960s. And in his timeless poem, The Road Not Taken, there are several lines that strike me as relevant to our honored inductees this evening because they refer to a decision each inductee took that led each of them to the road known as the Hall of Champions and Hall of Fame. And here those lines are. Two roads diverge in the yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could been in the undergrowth. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence, Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. This is the theme of making the right decision at the right time. Indeed, the road each of our honored guests took was a long path that led to their success this evening, a treasured moment that has made all the difference in their lives. Yet it's never an easy road. It's filled with sacrifices and greats, but it's the right road to success. The Norristown Area Hall of Champions was established in 1977 to honor and perpetuate the accomplishments of distinguished alumni of the Norristown Area High School. Our association consists of two divisions: the Hall of Champions, honoring graduates who made outstanding contributions to athletics while they were in high school, and the Hall of Fame, which honors alumni who distinguished themselves following graduation. So how do we go about making these? We begin evaluating nominees January of each year and choose inductees by April in order to plan for the ceremony in November. So here we are in 2003 to celebrate the accomplishments of the inductees. Because our first induction was in 1978, we as officers and board of directors celebrated our 25th anniversary dinner last May. This gave us the opportunity to pause and reflect on the next 25 years. It also gave us a golden opportunity to award $2,500 scholarships each to a high school senior boy and girl going on to higher education. The winners were Julie Fusco and Joseph Kikanawi. We congratulate them again for outstanding scholastic and humanitarian achievements. Now, after inductee candidates are nominated, their credentials are closely examined by two of our association selection committees. One committee, called the Hall of Champions, closely examined outstanding achievements, and another committee, called the Hall of Fame, examined outstanding humanitarian, education, and other area achievements. Selecting and honoring the names of each candidate has been the exciting reward extended on behalf of our association's members throughout the year. We appreciate your attendance tonight to join us in honoring 5 outstanding graduates soon to be recognized for their remarkable accomplishment in the field of athletics, such as in football, track and field, baseball, basketball, sling. I have to stop there because I was a wrestler at Westchester State Teachers College, and after I was pinned 5 times in a row, I decided to quit. I decided to quit while I was not ahead. And we honor 5 more graduates in the areas of business, medicine, the military, and education. Each of these inductees fulfill the established goal of our association to perpetuate pride in our school and community by recognizing the accomplishments of our distinguished alumni. The span of this year's honored guests starts with high school classes from 1940 to 54 as Hall of Fame candidates, and classes from 1938 to 1997 as Hall of Champions candidates. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we shall spotlight the wonderful deeds of each of these paragons of excellence, these candidates presently seated in the audience, whose superb accomplishments we are here to celebrate. I'd like to add that so far 230 have been selected from a pool of hundreds of nominees representing more than 120 years Norristown High has been in existence. The total student population has numbered in the thousands. Each person will receive a handsome plaque with his or her picture and accomplishments inscribed. In addition, each will have a permanent plaque located in the lobby of this auditorium for the Hall of Fame inductee. The Hall of Champions inductee will have his or her plaque located in the athletic wing. So of these plaques is to make sure that their achievements live on for as long as possible in the archives as our honored graduates for historical purposes. Each plaque is an elegant etched memory inscribed with an inductee's name and his outstanding achievements. The road the inductees took during their years as students and the road leading onward from one year to the next depended on their choices. For those honored this evening, their choices led to their beautifully inscribed names on plaques made of polished gold-colored metal and wood, such as this one. I hope all of you can see this, but the inductees will have a chance to see theirs close up. Pictures of tonight's inductees have been placed in the Paul M. Schellenberger Senior Memorial Showcase in the cafeteria for all students, faculty, and advisors to see and read, about their remarkable successes. Please take a few moments of your time during our reception after the ceremony to show this showcase, or to see the showcase our association has donated to this school. In the final analysis, the accumulation of names has grown into a Norristown Area High School pantheon, a place where in ancient Greece, the grateful citizens honored their heroes by celebrating their names and great deeds then, as we are doing this evening. Please take the time to read the names of the entire showcase, and you will see that those honored eagles are people of all walks of life. That is, of different nationalities, races, religions, and persuasions. Here you can see a microcosm of the greatness of America before your very eyes. That's the great contribution about our association. Anyone can achieve the honor of an inductee as long as each candidate meets those high standards. Our Hall of Champions Association now has 150 life members who paid a one-time fee of $50. All of this money is retained by the association with only the interest on the principal allowed for expenses. We also offer an annual membership for $10 a year. If you are not a member, we encourage you to become a member at our membership table in the cafeteria after the ceremony. And by the way, two other groups of students will be honored this evening. The first group represents outstanding student athletes, and the second group, outstanding student scholars. Our association is proud to recognize academic excellence as well as athletic excellence. We welcome and congratulate these students whom you will soon meet this evening. The faculty of the Norristown Area High School chose them. We also congratulate their parents and guardians for their continuing support and guidance. All the students we are honoring this evening are future potential candidates for introduction into our two halls, and our association offers this challenge to each of these students. So let us begin with remarks by our Norristown Area High School great and loyal friend and advisor to our association, Dr. Hildy Jaffe.
Inductees, outstanding students, members of the Hall of Champions Association, family, friends, welcome. As principal of Norristown Area High School, it is a pleasure for me to congratulate all of you who are honored this evening. It's also my pleasure once again to take part in a ceremony demonstrating the present and past excellence of accomplishments by Norristown Area High School students. You already heard some of our finest vocalists. You will shortly hear some selections by the Norristown Area High School Marching Band led by Mr. Kozacek, which will really be a treat if you haven't heard them before. Our Honor Society is ushers. And quite frankly, the students we are honoring tonight, both athletically and scholastically, I absolutely predict we will be inducting them into the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Champions 5 or more years from now. It's been my joy to work closely with the Hall of Champions Association by serving as the high school liaison for the past 6 years. This is a group of the most dedicated, hardworking, remarkable people that keep this of Norristown High School alive, its students and its alumni alive, and our meetings are usually a lot of fun. Again, thank you for coming to share this evening with us. At this time, Mr. Wilmer Cressman is going to present the Louis A. Spinelli Memorial Award, and he is also a past president of the Hall of Champions.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure at this time to present the person selected for the 4th Annual Louis A. Spinelli Memorial Award. This award is very special and is the only one of its kind that is awarded by an organization connected with a high school. The criteria for being selected for this award is dedication over time to viewing Norristown Area High School sporting events. Mr. Spinelli was an avid NAHS sports fan for over 60 years of his life. He also was the director of the Hall of Champions Association for many years. Our association created this memorial for him when he passed away at the age of 90 years in March of 2000. A memorial plaque, Mr. Spinelli, with selected award winners, is mounted on a wall in the athletic wing of the school. I'd just like to take a moment to tell you a moment that happened in our association with Lou Spinelli to show you how loyal he was to the Eagles. It happened in the early 1990s when director of our association, and we were meeting in a February meeting. And Lou looked very gloomy that evening and sad. And so I turned to him and I said, "What's the matter, Lou?" And he said, "I have to go to Florida." And I said, "Well, what do you mean you have to go to Florida?" He said, "I have to go there with my wife on vacation." And I looked, and Lou was teary-eyed. And I said, "Well, isn't that wonderful that you can go to Florida in the winter?" And he said, "No, it isn't." He said, "I'm going to miss a Norristown playoff basketball game." That's the kind of fella he was. We continue to search for nominees who meet the criteria for this award. If you are such a person or know of such a person, please send the name and a summary of the sport fan watching to the Hall Champions Association in care of the high school. Our recipient for this year's award is Sam C. Barone, class of 1951, who resides in the borough of Norristown. Mr. Barone has been a regular sports fan of Norristown area high school athletic events since 1947, when he would attend football games at Roosevelt. He also began his basketball interest with the outstanding teams of the 1947-1948 era. The 1948 team won the Pennsylvania State Championship with a 30-27 victory over Ford City. It remains to this day the only state championship boys basketball team. Sam also watched his children participate in swimming, wrestling, field hockey, soccer, and gymnastics. He is married to the former Gloria Patson, also of the class of 1951. They are the parents of 6 children: Samuel Jr., Maria, Paula, Harry, Annalisa, and Nancy. Mr. Barone, would you please come to the stage to accept your award? Congratulations, Sam. We have a certificate for him, and I've also have in my possession here a pass Urban One League games for Sam and a guest as a compliment of the high school.
Thanks. Can I say one more?
Thank you, Wilmer. This is really neat. About 53 years ago, in gym class, my classmate and good buddy, Bill Werkheiser, watched me struggling across the gym floor trying to dribble a basketball. He came over to me and he said,
So attending. They are Charlotte Meng, School Board President, Sue Christensen, Dan Delaney, and Karen Shinosky. Let's give them a round of applause. And also, ladies and gentlemen, those soaring eagles of past years have landed. They are seated among you this evening as previous inductees into the Hall of Champions and the Hall of Fame. As I read the names of these special guests, stand and remain standing. Will the audience please hold your applause until I've read the last name? They are Hall of Champions, Jim Williams. Hall of Champions, Jim Williams is of the class of '62, by the way. Samuel D. Miller III, Hall of Fame, class of 1960. Richard Schulberg, Hall of Fame, class of 1957. Dr. James Holton, Hall of Fame, class of '53. Tom Catanese, Hall of Fame, class of 1958. Gus Domino, Hall of Fame, class of 1939. Ken Brown, class of 1928, Hall of Fame. Chris Allman, Hall of Fame, class of 1970. William Lessig, Hall of Fame, class of 1955. Now I'm coming to the Hall of Champions, mixed with the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame, Richard Rogers, class of 1953. Charles J. Turnetta, Hall of Fame, class of 1949. Jim Randolph, Hall of Champions, class of 1951. John Heist, Hall of Champions, class of 1955. Phil Nerr, Hall of Champions, 1958. Frank Ritchie Batson, Hall of Champions, class of 1954. David Stagliano Sr., Hall of Champions, class 65. Ronald William Livers, Hall of Champions, class of 1973. Ernie Hadrick Jr., Hall of Champions, 1968. And Bill Werkheiser, Hall of Champions, class of 1951. Let's give them all a round of applause. May I introduce the next person on our program, Mr. Joseph Fabrizio, Norristown Area Director of Athletics.
It's always a pleasure to be here. I'd like to congratulate all the Hall of Champion, Hall of Fame inductees tonight. It's always my pleasure to introduce some which we all hope will be future members of this organization. And I get to bring out some outstanding individuals who have a lot of fun participating in all the sports that we have here at the high school and achieve academically in the classroom. Everyone that you see here tonight is either a member of the National Honor Society or a future member of the National Honor Society because their grade point averages are so high, and they make it even better by participating in sports. I'd like to introduce from the 10th grade, this guy's pretty Jake Buha. He's a relative. You'll notice the resemblance right away. Jake is a member of our varsity wrestling team. He was a freshman qualifier to the state tournament last year. He was also a member of our boys baseball team. Wrestling taught him discipline, and baseball has taught him teamwork. His most outstanding achievement academically is maintain an A average for the year and a half that he's been here at the high school. And he believes that his work ethic, he is considerate, and he is competitive. And Jake, he is all those things. Congratulations. Next, we have an outstanding young lady by the name of Jackie Mayer, who is a member of our girls' varsity volleyball team. Watching Jackie play this year, she's really outstanding. She brought a lot of height and a lot of kills to our team, and she did an outstanding job. She's also a member of the girls' softball team, a member of the National Honor Society, a member of the DECA Association, where she attended a leadership conference this year in Orlando, Florida. She was a member of the Key Club, and she believes that her basic characteristics is she is athletic, honest, and opinionated. Jackie, congratulations. Next, we have Jamie Palmero. Jamie was a member of our girls volleyball team and also a member of the girls softball team. Academically, she was most proud of the fact that last year she got an A in geometry because that was the hardest she ever had to work in school to get that A. So she's very proud of herself. And she would like to, after college, become involved in the culinary arts. And one of her things said she likes to cook. So Jackie, you're well on your way. Or Jamie, I'm sorry. Next, we have another representative from the girls volleyball team. This young lady's 11th grader, Justine Fusco. Justine has played volleyball, varsity volleyball, basketball, and softball. She's a member of the National Honor Society. She has received the President's Educational Award for Outstanding Academic Excellence. And she would like to study pharmacy when she graduates from Norristown High School. And she believes her outstanding characteristic is that she's funny, sociable, and a hard worker. Justin, congratulations. Next, we have an outstanding young man, a member of our soccer and wrestling team, Andy Nur. It's a pleasure going to the wrestling matches. Andy is one of our favorites. We have a group of guys that sit there and watch hockey or wrestling, and we always like to see Andy come up because he's one of our favorites. He always gives a great effort. He's an outstanding wrestler. He's a member of the Honor Society. He does volunteer work with wrestling and with soccer, and this is something I didn't know, girls softball. That was, you love girls softball, you just love the girls? Both, okay, all right. Okay, when he graduates, he would like to get a degree in engineering. Andy, congratulations. Okay, next we have Tanoki Oye-Filet. Did I do that right? Okay, she said I couldn't do it. Okay, she's a member of our winter track and spring track teams. She is quite involved with the research and homelessness for the Greater Philadelphia Partnership. She attends soup kitchens. She does community house visits. She is a member of the Carver Center. She takes care of the Kids Cafe. Plus, she's an outstanding student. She is looking at a business degree at a liberal arts school. And she says her characteristics are dependability. Ooh, I can't say her name. Dependable, helpful, and enthusiastic. Tanoke, congratulations. Okay, now we have our senior class. This next young lady I've known for quite a long time. She's a member of our field hockey team, our basketball team, and softball team, and every Friday night I spend the night with her. One of our trainers, and she helps out at every football game, and she's a member of the National Honor Society. It's Lindsay Brady, and one thing I found out about Lindsay, her email address is Crazy Brady. She has three other sisters, and any one of them can get that. She's a member of the National Honor Society. She teaches at summer camps. She's a comedian, I'll attest to that, helpful and patient, and she would like to be in communications. And Lindsay, congratulations. Okay, next we have an outstanding young man, Tim Harner. Tim is a member of our wrestling team. In the 4 years that he's wrestled for Norristown High School, he's been all-league, all-state. He was an All-American. Last year he finished third in the state in his weight class. As a freshman, he was third in the Nationals. He's been inducted into the AAU Hall of Fame. And last but certainly not least, Jamie McCarthy. This guy grew up when I used to coach softball. Jamie is a member of our soccer team, and he's a softball manager, and he is responsible for keeping score both in the book and with our scoreboard out at the girls' field. And Jamie, whenever I need him for playoff games, district games, he's always right there, an outstanding young man. He's a member of the National Honor Society. He works a lot with the Lower Perk Extreme Softball team as a manager. And Jamie is very goal-oriented, compassionate, and he is a comedian. Jamie, congratulations.
While that screen is coming down, I'll take a few seconds. I'd like to share some statistics about the first time we ever had graduation ceremonies, and the first one that I discovered was one that took place in 1876 when Grant was President of the United States. We don't even know the name of one person, Walter Corson, who was in that class. He was a graduate. We don't know anything more about that. The 1879 commencement exercise with Norristown High School was truly historic. Grant was out, Hayes was in. Now, for the first time, we have an original commenda. Took place at Music Hall, Norristown, on Monday, June the 30th, 1879 at 2 in the afternoon. There were 10 men and 12 women, and true to tradition of women are smarter than men, Anne Gottwalls was valedictorian of her class. And I think we're ready.
Kenneth L. Curl, class of 1938. In this day and age, football players are considered specialists, but our inductee tonight was called a triple threat by both friend and foe. Kenneth Curl excelled in football for the Eagles as a runner, passer, and kicker in the late 1930s, and he was just as outstanding as a member of the track team. But first, his football exploits. Ken earned 2 varsity letters, and as a 5-foot 6-inch halfback weighing just 161 pounds, he dazzled his opponents. In a 1937 game against Radnor High School, our honoree scored 3 touchdowns. He punted for 70 yards against Radnor and for 55 yards against Phoenixville. Ken was named the Suburban League's best punter. As a member of the track team, Ken Curl earned 3 varsity letters. He won the 200-yard hurdle event at the Philadelphia Suburban High School Athletic Association meet and finished second 43 years. He is survived by his wife, Eleanor, who resides in Jeffersonville, Pennsylvania. Accepting the award on his father's behalf is Ken's son, Ronald. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Kenneth L. Curl into the Norristown Area High School Hall of Champions.
I come before you this evening with a lot of emotions. I'm very, very happy to be here to accept this award on behalf of my dad, Ken Curl. I'm saddened by the fact that he's not here to accept it himself. And I have to tell you, I'm very, very proud. I mean, how many sons get the opportunity to publicly brag on their dads? But I have to tell you, I'm also very confused because how do I tell you about Ken Curl in just 5 minutes? You know, in life we make many, many decisions. Most of those decisions we make on the spur of the moment and for the here and now. Oftentimes those decisions, without our knowledge, have very far-reaching results. As a teenager, Ken made a couple of decisions. He chose to get involved in athletics. He chose to give a minimum of 100% while playing, and he chose to always play fair. Ken didn't play for the glamour or the notoriety or the popularity. He didn't play in hopes of securing an NFL contract or for product endorsement. Ken played because he wanted to play. He played from his heart. He just loved the game. Back in the 30s, they didn't keep individual statistics as they do today. After a football game, you couldn't pick. Ken was a very gracious loser and a humble winner. I remember reading a newspaper article while Ken was playing football here at Norristown High School. The article went on to list some of the things that he had been doing and some of the achievements he had accomplished. But the thing that got to me the most was the fact that the reporter stated what a hard time he had getting this information from Ken. He said how modest Ken was. He was humble in his greatness. You know, they said there's two kinds of people in this world. Jenny will agree with me when I say I can never remember a time in my life that he was not in a bowling league. In his later years, he took up golf. In fact, Ken golfed and bowled almost up until the time he passed away in October of 2001. Ken's abilities have been passed on to his children, his grandchildren, and although too young to play, hopefully his great-grandchildren. I don't think you've heard the...
Nominating me, I want to thank the committee a lot for accepting me. It really is an honor, and I'm a Norristown freak. I buy New Balance shoes because they got ends on them. And the socks, too. All my heroes are in this room. Guys I love. I was talking to Jim Randall before. I still see a ball going over the street at Rittenhouse and landing on the porch roof. I can't believe it. He hit it. I seen him lead touchdown drives for Norristown. I came from Chain Street in the North End. We didn't play any sports. First thing for the tryouts, and I asked the coach if I could become a manager. I had never played football, and he looked at me and said, "Come here," he says, "you're getting a suit, you're going to be a player." I said, "What?" He says, "Yep, you're getting a suit." So I just took orders from him, and they gave me a suit. The first time they put me out against the varsity. Maybe the second day or the first day, I don't remember. They ran a play. I was standing in the middle of a hall, and I was like this. I didn't know how to tackle. I never tackled anybody. And these guys had like hairy legs and stuff. They were like ninth graders, you know what I mean? They put me out there to be a tackling dummy or something. But I got knocked out the first time, 6'3". I was a giant. Like today, I'd be a point guard. And then I was known as Big Bob and stuff like that. It became my whole identity. And all the friends I have here, I think, are a product of me playing sports. Sports was my salvation. And many times I didn't need anybody to play. I'd go down the basketball court and be... Bill was a hero of mine. A lot of these guys don't know how much that I really loved them. And they were like figures for me. And I remember the first pair of Converse white sneakers that I ever got. I took them to bed with me. I looked at them like all over the place. I mean, I was so proud to belong to something, and it gave me an identity, it gave me a family, it gave me a lot of stuff, and I'm still benefiting from that. And this here is unbelievable. I never in my wildest dreams would think that I'd be selected for something like this. Just like Mr. Curl was saying about his dad. We didn't play to get out of the ghetto or to go.
Donald posted many individual accomplishments, including setting a meet record as he finished first in the intermediate hurdle event at the District 1 Championships. Later in the same year, he finished second in the same event at the PIAA state title meet.
Masters runner and the high school holders at the age of 11, and they have a history of stars in their family, and their father, Mr. Lyras, and their oldest brother, Larry. The twins were athletes that everyone wanted to associate themselves with, and I found them to be very good people. Later in life, I had the privilege and the honor to stand before the National Security Advisor at the White House in Washington, D.C., and ask the following question. And training with Bruce Jenner, the Olympic decathlon champion, and being a personal friend of Ron Lyras, the #1 Olympic hope in the hall, because it leaves a legacy for my children's children's children, and for other family members that go back 7 generations in Norristown. Both sets were known as the twins of Norristown, Ronnie and Donnie. Believe it or not, we both trained in California between 11th and 12th grade. My brother Ron and I with my brother John in San Diego, and the Lyras twins with their brother Larry in San Jose. The first college that I attended was East Tennessee State University, for which I became displeased. As he did at that time. When I was in 10th grade, Bob told me to run as a rabbit, which means for the 440, which means you sprint for 160 yards and you drop off, hoping that the other team would follow you and they would tire out. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. Got in the blocks, I came out sprinting, kept my head down. When I looked up, everybody was 10 yards in front of me. And I felt so embarrassed that I had to finish the race. But it was the point that I knew what it would take to be in competition together. Joseph and Donald attended Fairfield University, receiving an MBA and BS respectively, and Farron attended Bloomsburg University. The moral of this story is, you may be the best worker there is, but if you don't put in the full 40 hours to see the job to the end, you will never see a payday. The race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but those who endure to the end. Thank you, the selection committee of the Hall of Champions. This is one of the greatest paydays in my life. My only remorse
of 1981 to 1984, Manning won a gold in the 4x400 and a silver medal in the 4x400 events, as well as a bronze medal for her 5th place finish in the 200-meter finals at the PIAA state championships. In 1984, Deborah won the National High School Track All-American Award based on times run in various events across the country. Winning 3 varsity letters while at NAHS, Deborah set the school record for the 60-yard dash in 1984 and led her team by winning the 100, 200, and 400-yard dash at a national conference meet, in addition to anchoring the mile relay team. Deborah also won a silver medal in the 4x100 event and a bronze medal in the 4x200 relays in the 1984 Junior Olympics. In 1984, she won the 100-yard dash at the District 1 Girls Indoor Track event and also won gold medals in the 60-yard dash and the 300 meters, as well as running anchor in the mile relay and half-mile relay teams. Deborah was also a member of the front silk line for the high school marching band, which was one of the top 10 bands in the area. Following Norristown Area High School graduation, she attended Montgomery County Community College, Johnson & Wales University in Providence, Rhode Island, and the Martin School of Business in Philadelphia. She was president of the Eisenhower branch of the Norristown Head Start Parent Committee, and she resides in Norristown with her 3 children. And before we welcome Deborah to the Hall of Champions, you see our technical difficulties have magically disappeared. Let's watch a little bit about Deborah Manning, whom you've just heard so much about. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Deborah Manning to the Norristown Area High School Hall of Champions.
It gives me great pleasure this evening to be the only female to accept this award. I would like to thank everyone here for supporting me in my honor. I especially would like to say thank you to my coach, Joseph Hadrick, for coaching me through the years. And Mr. Hadrick always kept our team motivated and working together to accomplish our goals on the track as well as off the track. Thinking back 18 years ago, at practice, we had to jog up and down Fernand Street Hill like about 10 times. And Mr. Hadrick kept saying, finish at the top of the hill and not almost at the top of the hill, which I've always did, of course. Through those years, somehow those words seemed to stick in my mind. But at the time, the top of the hill seemed like a race I would never finish. Standing here tonight, I am proud to say I feel like, again, I have finished at the top. Thank you, and God bless.
Richard Springman, Class 1997. Our final Hall of Champions inductee this evening is one of the top wrestlers in our school's history. Rick Springman won practically all the events he participated in during his 4-year career at Norristown High. He tallied 149 wins, including a school record 42 wins in his senior year, which included a record 34 falls, and a career total of 102 falls. Rick became Norristown Area High School's first and only PIAA state champion for wrestling in 1997. He was an all-state selection every year of his 4 years at Norristown Area High School, as well as placing on the all-state academic team all 4 years. In his freshman year, Rick weighed in at 140 pounds, up to 160 pounds by his senior year. He placed third in the National High School Championships in 1997 and third in the Junior National Championships in 1996. Academically, at Norristown Area High School, Rick was on the honor roll every semester, and he obtained a degree in robotics from the University of Pennsylvania. Academically, while at Penn, Rick was a two-time Ivy League wrestling star and the 1998 Ivy League of the Year. He was captain of the Penn wrestling team for 3 years. It's a great pleasure that we welcome Richard Springman to the Norristown Area High School Hall of Champions.
Good evening. No dream is accomplished alone. Without my father, I would have not the courage, work ethic, nor character to win a single match. Without my mother, not the heart to dare of such intangible dreams. Without my brother and sisters, I would have been happy with this, but they were always knew more was attainable. Without my coaches, I would not have the tools, the poise, or confidence to believe in myself. Without the unwavering dedication and camaraderie of my teammates who never said no, my skills, hunger, and persistence would never have honed to a competitive edge. Without the embrace, encouragement, and smiles of my friends, the mountains I have climbed would have led me only to the height of solitude and loneliness. For this, all I can say is thanking you need is at the tip of your finger and only a moment away. Yet I know nothing lasting or worthwhile that can be attained through such fleeting means. All of my strongest returns have come from my strongest investments in time, energy, and desire. To the young honorees, please remember, if something comes easy, it too will be easily forgotten. Thank you for this honor.
straight A student who is creative, conscientious, empathetic, honest, and open-minded. Her proudest academic accomplishment was a 9th grade English final project, which meant so much to her, and it involved an incredible amount of thought, time, and effort. She combines work experience, extracurricular school activities, and community service with her academic achievements. And in addition to also maintaining a 4 straight A average, she works at a local grocery store and volunteers in the children's department at the public library. Molly's a member of our tennis team, the mock trial, the debate team, and the drama club. She's a senior Girl Scout with a special talent of being able to juggle. We won't ask for a demonstration. Molly plans to major in government or political science and pursue a career in law as a prosecutor. Rachel Semigran is the 3rd junior in the group. She describes herself as responsible, hardworking, creative, insightful, and consistent. Rachel's most proud of her involvement in DECA and Drama Club because of the reward she feels for this hard work. And in addition to her academic success as a straight A student, balances part-time employment with community service, being a member of the Key Club and NAHS. Rachel plans to pursue a college education, and she truly hopes to become a writer. Congratulations. The next group is our seniors. Carla Jumpa is a senior who describes herself as dedicated, conscientious, responsible, compassionate, and trustworthy. She believes her induction into the National Honor Society to be the academic accomplishment of which she is most proud. Along with her academic success as an honor roll student, she balances school activities, part-time employment, and community service. She is co-president of our Yes Club, which is a service organization, and a member of the softball team. She participates with the Adult School for mentally challenged adults, and she coaches softball and volleyball for the Special Olympics of Montgomery County. The Developmental Enterprises Corporation for Mentally Challenged Adults presented an award to Carla for her commitment to service. She plans to major in political science or law, and her future career goal is a path in that direction. Congratulations. The next in the group is Cassie Knight. She is proudest of all of her academic accomplishments, but she's particularly pleased with the fact that she's been an honor roll student for her entire school career. Cassie rounds out her academic success with participation in school activities, including softball, as captain of the junior varsity team, and as a member of the Eagles of Nature, an mental club, and she serves as the vice president of that club. She is also proud as her position as editor-in-chief for Spice, our yearbook for this school year. Cassie describes herself as diligent, innovative, hardworking, and organized. She plans to major in dairy science in college, and her career goal is in the area of agriculture. Congratulations, Cassie. Our last senior is Kirsten Kraus. And she's a senior whose German background has sparked an interest in German culture and language. Last summer, she traveled with the German exchange program for 3 weeks to Germany and was able to experience a different culture and practice a different language. She is most proud of the fact she's been on the honor roll her entire school year. And in addition to working hard academically, Kirsten has also been involved in 15 years of dancing and is captain of the varsity tennis team. She describes herself as focused, loyal, and truthful. Kirsten plans to major in communications or journalism in college, and her future career goal is in the area of journalism. Congratulations, Kirsten. We wish all of these students so much success in their years ahead of them, and we hope to see them accepting their honors here in the future.
Alfonso B. Falcone, class of 1940. This Hall of Fame inductee made his mark in the field of medicine on both the East and the West Coasts, with service in the Army and the Navy in between. Dr. Falcone received his medical degree from Temple University in 1947 and completed his internship and residency requirements at Philadelphia General Hospital, as well as at the University of Minnesota Hospital. In 1954, Dr. Falcone received his doctoral degree in biochemistry, after which he served in the United States Navy from 1954 to 1956. He had also served a 2-year stint in the Army from 1944 to 1946. Dr. Falcone became an assistant and associate professor of medicine at the University of Wisconsin Medical School in Madison, Wisconsin, from 1963 to 1967. He also served as a consultant in endocrine and metabolic diseases. In 1968, he opened his private practice in endocrinology and internal medicine in Fresno, California, and continued his practice until the year 2000. In addition to his many civic duties in Fresno, Dr. Falcone served as chairman of the Fresno Community Hospital's Department of Medicine. He also served as full professor of the University of California, San Francisco, and as director of the Diabetic Care Unit at the nearby Valley Medical Center. Dr. Falcone was an active supporter of Fresno arts and healthcare programs. Upon his untimely death in 2001, the California State Senate adjourned in his memory. His widow, Patricia, continues to reside in Fresno, California. Accepting this award on behalf of Dr. Falcone will be Mrs. Jessie Falcone. And at this time, we ask you all to welcome Dr. Alfonso B. Falcone into the Norristown Area High School Hall of Fame.
I would like to repeat that Jessie Falcone is the cousin, first cousin to Dr. Falcone, who of course is deceased.
This is indeed a great honor for the Falcone family, a great addition to the Hall of Fame. Our sincere thanks to all those who made this award possible. Thank you.
George R. Romano, Sr., class of 1941. If you're ever wondering where the yellow went, just look at all the school buses traveling local highways and byways. Many from this area have the name Romano Bus on their sides. It all began a half-century ago when our inductee started the Romano bus service with just 2 buses. Today, the company owns more than 200 buses and serves school districts far and wide, including more than 90% of the buses utilized by the Norristown Area School District. George Romano's firm also handles a large portion of the Abington School District busing needs, as well as those of the New Hope-Sulbury School District in Bucks County. In addition to serving school districts, the Romano Company has operated tour buses at Valley Forge National Historical Park since the mid-1970s. And at one time, Romano's operated the Gray Line buses for tourists in Philadelphia. Romano Bus Service still operates from a 25-acre site in Plymouth Township. Some of the acreage is still farmed today, and George vows that as long as I'm alive, there will be cows and a farm here. George Romano is a founder and president of the Pennsylvania School Bus Association, and he also was a founder of the National School Bus Association. He has served on the Philadelphia Tourist and Visitors Bureau Board and is chairman of the Valley Forge Convention and Visitors Bureau, having served on that board for more than 20 years. Deeply interested in the needy children of our area, George has served as president of Camp Rainbow, a Montgomery County-based camp for underprivileged children. In 1997, Mr. Romano was honored with the Distinguished Achievement Award by the American Heritage Council, and in 1999 was honored by the Philadelphia Rotary Club as its Man of the Year. He and his wife Ann reside in Plymouth Township. And now, please welcome George R. Romano Sr. to the Norristown Area High School Hall of Fame.
I guess I've been around a long, long time. I might be the oldest person in this room, I think. But I'm very happy. I want to recognize my wife, Ann, my son, George Jr., my daughter, Lorraine, and Robert. They're all here. Thank you for the honor and recognition tonight. I was the youngest of 4 children born in an Italian family. I was the lucky one because even though my father died when I was 2 years old and left the family farm for us to keep going, I was able to finish high school with the insistence of my mother. I also am the only child with an American name at that time, George. My father named me after George Washington, even though I never became a president. But it did happen, and I got into the school bus business. I started with two school buses, did farming in between, and however, as you know, farming started to decline, and thank goodness the bus business took off. My company grew over the years. Now we operate with 4 school districts: Abington, New Hope, Salisbury, Colonial, and of course Norristown. My company is now being operated by the 2nd generation of the Romanos. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary in business. Through all these years in Norristown and Plymouth, I have been lucky enough to keep my property where I was born, raised, and been able to keep my cows, sparrows, chickens, a horse at the property where the bus company is. That's right, it's still a farm in the middle of Plymouth Township. I tried to give back to the community as much as possible since it gave so much to me. I've been honored to be president of Camp Rainbow since 1947, which is a program for underprivileged children or needy children. In closing, I want to thank you for the honor that you bestowed upon me and the honorees tonight. I am humbled by the years of thoughtfulness. Thank you very much.
Robert E. Kane, class of 1949. With an entrepreneurial spirit from an early age, Bob Kane saw this grow and grow until the young age of 31 years. He assumed command of a company that expanded tenfold under his leadership. But also our Hall of Fame inductee began selling penny Easter eggs at the tender age of 10, then sold 2-cent newspapers a year later. He then started his own lawn mowing service in the Norristown area at the age of 15. In 1954, Bob launched his career in the shipping department of Sampson Paper Company, a paper converter serving the legal profession in Philadelphia. 2 years later, Bob became involved in management at the firm. In 1961, after the death of the company owner, and just 7 years after starting with Sampson, Bob was named Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. Anxious to see the company grow, Bob purchased a print shop with 6 presses to enable Sampson to do its own printing. Realizing the need for more room for the company, Bob, in 1964, supervised the region of Sampson Paper Company to Conshohocken. In 1975, he purchased Fidelity Engraving Company in Philadelphia, which eliminated the need to outsource the engraving work and made the business a full-service operation. At this time, Sampson expanded its sales territory from 7 to 11 states. In 1980, Bob purchased a 33,000 square foot building in West Norristown Township, and Sampson Paper moved into 17,000 feet of that space. Bob acquired majority ownership of the firm in 1983 and retired as Chief Executive Officer in 1995. Always interested in the real estate business, Bob is currently president of Diliberto and Murphy Realtors, located in King of Prussia. He has been involved in many successful real estate transactions, including several in Ocean City, New Jersey, California, Florida, and St. Croix. While a student at Norristown High School, Bob was a valuable member of the high school's only boys state championship basketball team. They won the PIAA title in 1948 with a 30-23 win over Ford City at the Palestra. Bob still recalls with great affection the parade through the streets of Norristown after winning the state crown on that Saturday night. Bob's also been active with many community organizations. He has been a Mason for almost 48 years with Lodge 620 and was involved with the East Norriton Little League, serving as treasurer, director, and coach. He has been an elder and the president of the Board of Trustees at the First Presbyterian Church in Norristown and served as the vice moderator for the Philadelphia Presbytery for 2 years. He is an active member of his reunion committee, serving as chairman twice. He's a member of the Norristown Area High School Alumni Association and the Hall of Champions Association. He's the proud father of 4 children and resides in, and 7 grandchildren, and resides in West Norriton. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Robert E. Kane to the Norristown Area High School Hall of Fame.
My life, I've had a lot of love and cooperation and support from my parents, my brothers, sisters, extended family, and friends. They were always there for me when I needed help, and they were there for support. And a lot of them had a lot of impact on my life. I have a lot of wonderful memories of my school years. 2 of my favorite, playing linebacker on the football team and winning the 1948 state championship in basketball. Through my coaches, Chris Pappas, Lawson Earl, Art Herr, Bill Bucher, Ray Krasinski, I learned that it takes a lot of determination, dedication, discipline, a good attitude, and teamwork to create a winning team. I use this philosophy in building and running my business. I stress the importance of teamwork among my good employees who work to serve our customers. In recent years, it has been my pleasure to give back to the Norristown schools in many ways, but I could never give back as much as I have received from the teachers and people I have met through the years. I love NHS, and this is truly a wonderful, wonderful honor. I thank you very much.
Frederick W. McCarty, class of 1952. An adult lifetime of military service, followed by service to his fellow man in the field of medicine, speaks volumes about our latest Hall of Fame inductee. Fred McCarty entered the United States Navy immediately following graduation from Norristown High School, and more than a quarter century later, he retired from active military service. Not ready for full retirement, Fred joined the Virginia Department of Health for another 10 years of service. Early duty with the Navy saw Fred McCarty as an operating room technician at the Bainbridge, Maryland Naval Hospital. In 1959, he was at the Aviation Medicine School in Pensacola, Florida, where he assisted with the surgical procedures of placing electrodes in monkeys used in the early unmanned space program. In 1962, after President John Kennedy ordered the establishment of a top-secret anti-guerrilla warfare unit in each of the branches of the military services, Fred McCarty volunteered as an original member of the Navy SEALs. He made 3 trips to Vietnam and earned 2 Bronze Stars, as well as 3 Presidential Unit Citations for service. After leaving the SEAL program in 1969, Fred became a senior chief petty officer at the medical dispensary at the Alameda, California Naval Air Station. After retiring from the Navy, Fred became affiliated with the Medicaid program of the Virginia Department of Health, and shortly thereafter became assistant administrator in the Newport News, Virginia Health Department. In 1982, our inductee became regional administrator for the Virginia Health Department, overseeing 8 health districts, totaling 16 health departments. Fred retired in 1989. While a student at NHS, Fred McCarty earned 2 varsity letters. At this time, please welcome Rick W. McCarty to the Norristown Area High School Hall of Fame.
I want to thank the Hall Association for providing this honor, especially Mr. Martinelli and his selection committee for making the hard decisions. Also, Mr. Bob Green for nominating me, Mrs. Barbara Cressman and Ms. Sandy Bertram, Mr. Bill Rice and the late Bob Johnson for the moral support. Nothing is accomplished without some sort of sacrifice. There were years that I had to be gone anywhere from 6 to 9 months out of the year. These separations were made easier by knowing that our family had a strong and loving relationship, thereby